welcome back to Nier. I have to admit I kind of really like this, having this sword, because it kind of looks like it replaces Nier's face with an upside down lion face. Anyway, can we talk to the mayor again? We can't. I hope you enjoyed the copious amounts of reading that we did in the last video, because I believe, talking with the other villagers, we're going to need to do it a whole lot more. So let's see what this person has to say. This must be another person infected by the Deathdream. It would appear that way, yes. Enter this villager's dream. Yes, we will. We're in the interest of helping people here in Nier town. Gods, please don't tell me we have to go back in there. I'm no good at this mind game crap. I'd rather hit something in the face and be done with it. Perhaps you should spend less time complaining and more time getting on with the mission. Yeah. I breathe air scented with death and resist the urge to laugh, for I know it will sound like the words of a madman. How long have I been in this fresh hell? My box, my prison, is tucked under a stairway in the long unused catacombs of some infinite castle. Outside I hear the sounds of a funeral dirge that seems without end. Light has no place here. Wind is a forgotten friend. I pray for death to come, but he forsakes me. Time passes, and eternity slips by in the single tick of the clock. Someone knocks on my prison. Hey, anyone there? I hear an unfamiliar voice say. My savior. I claw at the door of my jail, embedding thick splinters under my ragged nails. I scream for help. I laugh. I sob. Surely this is a product of my addled mind. Surely it cannot be true. Help me, I cry, for the love of all the gods, help me. Impossibly, I hear the sound of a lock being torn out and falling to the floor. As the door slowly creaks open, I have just enough time to see a silver-haired man in a floating book before the light pours inside. My eyes, accustomed to the blackness, explode with pain, and I am forced to turn away. Who are you? I ask, shaking hands covering my face. How have you come to this place? I am Grimoire Weiss. This is Nier. Long have we been searching for you. Now come, stand. We shall awaken from this nightmare together. The one known as Nier extends his massive hand and pulls me from the cell. Though my eyes are slow to adjust to the freedom, my ears are as keen as ever, and they recognize the staccato sounds of heavy rain. I never thought to hear the rain again, I whisper. Would that this were not such a terrible storm, said Grimoire Weiss. Look at your feet. I force my eyes open and see water pooling around my feet and lapping at my shins. There's so much of it. Yes, and more comes with each moment we delay. If we do not make good our escape, we shall all drown in this castle. We know that you are weak, but you are our only hope to survive this place. Time, that long-forgotten friend, made itself known again. I nodded my head and swore to save my rescuers, no matter the cost. The castle catacombs are a maze, twisting upon themselves like the endless entrails of a giant. I squint down the dim corridors and proceed north. At the end of the corridor, I find a row of 20 gorgeous canopied beds resting atop a carpet of velvet. All are covered in a thick layer of dust and cobwebs. Searching for the door to the next room, I come upon a shapeless mass of gray matter. It has been shoved against the side of the wall, and despite my fever, I think I see the outlines of a door just beyond. When I reach out a finger and touch a piece of the mass, it turns to dust and drifts away on the wind. Realization slowly dawns, and I fall to my knees and weep. Corpses. I face a mountain of charred and crumbling corpses. I look from it to the beds and back again until the horror dawns full upon me. Someone has piled these bodies into a tower and set them ablaze. Whether they were alive or dead, I do not know, and sanity will not permit me to consider the proposition further. I make a sound, whether scream or laughter, I cannot be certain. Then my mind grants me merciful blackness, and I find myself opening the door and leaving that most terrible of rooms. I squint down the dim corridors and proceed south. I squint down the dim corridors and proceed north. I squint down the dim corridors and proceed east. I squint down the dim corridors and proceed north. I squint down the dim corridors and proceed west. At the end of the path, a row of heavy wooden casks lie on their sides in a dark chamber. Doubtless they are filled with wine. My thirst roars to life. I cannot remember the last time my parched throat had relief. I scramble to the first cask and pull frantically at the cork. The theft of a few cups means nothing, I tell myself. The casks will be ruined by the flood regardless. Finally, the cork surrenders to my attack, and thick red liquid bursts forth from the hole. This is no wine. It is blood still warm from the body, whether animal or something else I cannot say. The foul liquid soon mixes with the rising floodwaters, creating a warmth that laps against my thighs. By all the gods, are the rest of these casks filled with blood as well? I lack the courage to confirm my suspicion. Disgust quickly becomes fear as I turn to flee, but my weakened legs betray me, sending me toppling over into the red ocean below. The smell of death is everywhere. It threatens to consume me. I must escape this hell. Crawling on all fours like an animal, holding back screams lest any foulness enter my mouth, I lurch forward through the red waters and out of the room to freedom. I squint down the dim corridors and proceed east. I squint down the dim corridors and proceed north. At the end of the path, the waters rise to my waist, exhausting me both physically and spiritually. I pray that this is a way out, the way out. Eventually, I can stand at the side of the waters no longer, and so turn my eyes upward. Imagine my surprise when I see a series of paintings hanging on the faded plaster wall. Each depicts a person in the prime of life, clad in clothing of the highest quality. The styles, however, are strange to me, leading me to believe that these people had lived long, long ago. One subject wears an outfit that particularly catches my eye. It is constructed of a thin, breezy cloth and decorated with a motif of flowers and birds, while encircling the figure's waist is a leather belt of the most perfect construction. It is a stunning costume even by modern standards. As I gaze at the portrait, I am struck by a desire to touch it with my own hands. Yet as I extend a single finger to the painting, I am gripped by a most unpleasant feeling. Staring closely at the image, I see it bend and warp into the shape of another figure. Something behind the picture is pointing at me. Is it another prisoner, a fellow inmate trapped for eternity in this place? I cannot let it pass, and so I seize the portrait with both hands and throw it into the water. The wall is hollow beyond the painting, and inside I can just make out a body. Whether or not this is a prisoner, there would be no rescue. This poor soul is long dead. Scraps of clothing lie on the floor around the bones. Only a small amount of the fabric has survived, but it features the same delicate designs that were depicted in the portrait. I have been admiring a row of corpses, blocked from view by portraits of each victim at their pinnacle. Enough. Shielding my eyes, I paddle forward through the water. I squint down the dim corridors and proceed south. The water has risen to my chin and now laps greedily at my mouth and nose. "You dumb bastard," shouts Nier. He surely desires to say more, but the rest of his insult is cut short by the rising water. Grimoire Weiss, wet and tattered, floats on the water's surface. It is already too late for him. This wasn't how it was supposed to end. And so we have failed this option because I did not choose the correct directions, which makes this chapter pretty rough, honestly. So now we'll have to do it again, but I am going to really quickly cut to that point so we don't have to read through it again. So sorry I couldn't get it right the first time, but I didn't look it up or anything beforehand, unfortunately, so see you in a little bit. So running through this again, I came upon a room, because this is now a choose-your-own-adventure story, or choose-your-own-adventure game. I came upon something that we hadn't seen before. So this is actually the first room I've encountered since I started. I find myself in a great hall with only the sounds of rain for comfort. The waterlogged red carpet squishes beneath my feet as I approach the center of the room. Once there, I behold a beautiful dining table upon which rests china and silver of the finest construction, as well as the remains of a fantastic feast. As my eyes continue to adjust, I see many chairs surrounding the table, each holding a dinner guest. Noticing movement, I approach the chair at the table's head, but as the truth of the matter dawns on me, I recoil in horror. The host of the feast is a corpse, as are all the invited guests. An army of foul-wriggling insects have made homes in their remains, and this is the movement I saw. This once splendid feast was now nothing more than a requiem for the damned. I take a moment to steady my shaking hands, then slowly back away from the table. Desperate to lose sight of the abomination before me, my gaze lands on the chairs upon which the dead were seated. This is a mistake, for the chairs proved to be even more terrible than the feast itself. Each one is covered in a layer of spikes that run from the seat, up the back, and down the arms. This explains the color of the carpet beneath my feet. I can only pray that the unfortunate diners were dead when the meal began. For if not, it is a simple task to envision the agonized screams that must have sprung forth from their mouths. My mind grasps frantically at the possibility that these souls had committed some terrible crime for which this was punishment. Though in truth I suspect they had committed no crime at all. There would be no tomorrow for these unfortunates. This was their last supper. I squint down the dim corridors and proceed north. Against all hope, we make it to the front door. Break it down, someone cries, and so I give myself to the effort. In tandem with Nier and Grimoire Vice, I slam my body against the thick, sturdy door. On the third try, it gives way, and we find ourselves sprawled in front of the castle. The storm is in retreat. The clouds above are still dark and foreboding, but to the west I can see a thin shimmer of sunlight trying to break through. So that was very easy. Like I said, that was my first room. That's weird. Alright, well, glad we made it out. How can I thank you? I cry as tears join the rain on my cheeks. I would surely have died in there. Looking down, I suddenly notice that my dress is in tatters and sheepishly try to cover my exposed skin. Your dress? Asks Vice. Then you are a woman, madam. Yes, I am. I proffer the two to a smile. I suppose that comes as something of a surprise, seeing how I exist only in the form of words. I can see that the one known as Nier is disappointed that the torn dress will be given no further description, but he hides it well. With a nod and a shrug, the three of us set forth to our awakening. But behind us, an awakening of another kind is taking place. Black smoke fills the abandoned castle, providing the countless damned souls inside with their final shroud. After a moment, the castle's windows shatter with a mighty roar. A fresh breeze blows through the hallways and corridors, clearing the smoke away for good. As we watch in awe, uncountable black shadows slowly flicker to life, crossing to and fro in front of the broken windows. The castle's dead have awakened to their new life as shades. You have nothing to say about that. Hopefully there will be no labyrinth next time. I hear ya. And that's me speaking as myself now. I also hear ya. That was rough. So unfortunately we can't talk to her or continue this anymore. So I guess we have no choice but just to go to the next Forest of Myth resident and try to help them get out of the Deathdream as well. And another victim. This work certainly is trying. I'm surprised, Vice. You're a book. All this word stuff should be right up your alley. Yes, quite. Well, enough chatter. Let's be off. A colony of massive sculptures was visible in the distance, their tall forms scraping against the sky. Vice and Nier had never seen such a sight, and their eyes widened as they tried to take it in. Hey, Vice, we keep walking, but those things don't get any closer. I don't get it. he said. Under this heat, a mirage or two would hardly be an unexpected sight. Nier nodded and wiped the sweat off his brow, leaving a trail of sand in its place. He thought he'd never been so thirsty. The ancient road on which they walked was black and cracked with age. Here and there, thin wisps of grass pushed up through the rocky surface as if defying those who laid this material down over their home. The heat reflecting from the road made Nier lightheaded. Suddenly he dropped to his knees and slammed his hand against the black surface. "God damn it," he said, "is this some kind of joke? Well, I'm not laughing." The complaining had already begun. Weiss tried not to let his eyes roll too much. "A joke," he said. No joke. This road leads to the city of art. Perhaps the path itself is simply some manner of grand artistic work. Oh, come on, that's bullshit and you know it. Possibly, but thinking of it in this way might make it easier for you to bear. Nier glanced at Weiss's grinning face, cursed silently to himself, and resumed walking. As time passed, Nier's feet grew more painful and his throat drier than he thought possible. He tried not to look further than the next step ahead because the bright sunlight made him hesitant to trust his own senses. "We are definitely getting closer," said Weiss in an effort to cheer his companion. "Yes, as much is certain." Encouraged, Nier lifted his gaze. Suddenly he stopped walking, choosing instead to stand in the middle of the road with his mouth and eyes wide open and his finger pointing in the distance. "Water," he cried. "It's water." "Water?" asked Weiss. "Preposterous, I don't see any water." "It's right there, idiot. Can't you see it? Look, the sun is reflecting off it." Without waiting for a response, Nier sprang to life and bounded toward the sight. What in the... There was no water. There was nothing but sand in every direction. Nier closed his eyes and sighed as Weiss floated up behind him, chuckling softly. "I believe this is known as a mirage," he said. "Many a desert traveler have spoken of such things." Nier shook his head, bewildered. Suddenly he pointed off in the distance, his eyes wide once more. "Wait, there it is. I just missed it. Look, it's right there." Nier sprinted off again, leaving Weiss with no choice but to follow. After a few minutes of running, Nier came to a halt. I could have sworn it was right around here. Confused, he put his hands up to his eyes and rubbed them vigorously. As soon as he stopped, he noticed a blue, shimmering pool of clear water just over the next rise. With a shout, he bounded off in search of it. The chase continued for nearly an hour until an exasperated Weiss finally floated up to Nier and struck him in the face with his cover. "You damn blithering idiot, stop this at once. There is no water here." Nier's face clouded. There isn't. There is not, and perhaps next time you will listen to me when I tell you as much. Weiss paused for a moment, then continued speaking in a slightly kinder tone. "However, I suppose this mad chase was not altogether wasted. It seems we have arrived in the city of art." Nier looked up. Stretched out before him was a row of impossibly tall sculptures. Their journey was at an end. "They're huge," cried Nier, completely forgetting the heat and pain of the past few hours. I've never seen anything so big." Each sculpture was formed from roughly the same shape, a tall rectangle that stretched up toward the sky, but that is where the similarities ended. Most were covered with panes of glass that reflected the light in 1,000 directions, while others seemed to be nothing but frames of steel. Some had tall spires on their tops, while others possessed triangular caps. "What kind of city is this?" said Nier. "Where are the people? Where are the houses? Perhaps the land is intended exclusively for artistic use." The debate continued as they made their way through the city. Miracles of artistry were everywhere. Great iron crates with wheels sat silent on steel rails. Beautifully carved works with lights of red, amber, and green dangled over every street. As they moved away from the massive sculptures, they found a great array of smaller ones. Some were covered in glass or brick, but many were composed of materials they had never before encountered. The sheer variety of colors and styles was staggering. Unable to find a theme or purpose to the abstract works around them, Nier and Vice eventually fell silent. On the outskirts of the city, they discovered 3 sculptures in the shape of humans. Nier uttered a sigh of relief as he approached them. Finally, I was getting tired of modern art. The 3 statues were indistinguishable except for a single word chiseled on into their right arms. One read Alpha, one read Beta, and the final one read Gamma. As Nier moved to touch the nearest statue, a bird flew off from the top of one of the sculptures. Alighting on the statue's shoulder, it emitted a brief, beautiful song that took the form of words. Only one form is real, the others are false. The real form will always speak the truth. The false ones will only speak lies. With that, the bird departed. As if on cue, the 3 statues shuddered to life, acquiring color and form as they began to breathe. "Hey, look at that," said Nier. "They're alive." The triplets bowed low before Nier. "Please," said Alpha, "you have to get me out of this nightmare. I am real." "Stop lying," said Beta. He turned to Nier and threw his hands in the air. "Alpha's a fake, you know. I'm the real one." "What a load of crap," said Gamma. "Beta is fake. Everyone knows I'm the only real one around here." Their respective pleas given, the 3 statues returned to their frozen state as silence once again enveloped the city. "When you consider all of the statements, only one of them could be the real thing," said Vice. Nier furrowed his eyebrows and considered his answer. "Only one form is real. The others are false. The real form will always speak the truth. The false ones will only speak lies." The real one is Alpha, the real one's Beta, the real one is Gamma. I don't have a clue. So this riddle is definitely an oldie but a goodie. The real one is Beta. The real one is Beta. Though Nier's voice betrayed a notable lack of confidence, he was relieved to see Vice nodding at him. "If Alpha were telling the truth," began Vice in the dry tones of a lecturer, "Beta and Gamma would be fakes. But in that case, Gamma's claim that Beta is fake would be the truth, even though Gamma is a liar. Therefore, that theory crumbles. Now let us presume that Gamma spoke the truth. That makes Alpha and Beta liars. In this situation, however, Beta is calling Alpha a liar, which would leave us with 2 statues telling the truth. Finally, let us assume that Beta is telling the truth. If so, Alpha and Gamma's lies would make sense. Therefore, Beta must be real." As Vice finished his explanation, Alpha and Gamma crumbled soundlessly into dust, while Beta sprang to life once more. "Congratulations, villager," said Vice in a cheerful voice. "The time to awaken has arrived." "Thank you for saving me," cried the villager. He dropped to his knees and bowed his head as low as it could go before an uncomfortable Nier pulled him to his feet. "Why did you have a dream like this?" asked Vice. "Have you been to this city before?" The villager slowly looked around at the bizarre objects and sculptures that dotted the landscape, then shook his head. I don't think so. I mean, it's impossible, right? There's no way I could have ever been to a place like this, but at the same time, I feel like I've seen it before." "Deja vu," muttered Nier. "It's just like that damn mayor." The vague sense of unease that struck Nier during the mayor's dream spread once more through his mind. "Okay, that was terrible. I am positive I have seen that place before. Stop, I get enough foreboding crap from everyone else in my life. Don't you start too, even though I'm pretty sure Vice is the person most qualified to give Nier foreboding crap, but anyway. Okay, there. Now all the villagers can wake up, right? Yes, if the mayor's assumption was correct. I think I've had enough wordplay to last a lifetime. Thank you very much." "Yeah, I hear you. Well, let's go see the mayor." These segments are so interesting, and it just really gives credit to Yoko Taro, really more than anything else, just the insanity that happens sometimes. Basically, we're just reading a novel, and I think most people refer to these segments as novel segments of the game. And in the Forest of Myth here. Oh, thank you so much. Here, I have something for you. Obtain the one-handed sword, Faith. Well, I don't want to brag, but I'm pretty sure the one-handed sword, Faith, has nothing on Beastbane, but we'll take a look at it. Holy crap, I can really have this. Of course. It's apparently a weapon of some renown, but we have little use for it. Well, we appreciate it. Thank you again for everything. I simply cannot bear another one of these infernal conversations. Let us save it for another time. Talk or don't talk. Oh, I was not expected to be given an option. Let's talk. Hello again. You know, I've been trying to figure out a way to thank you for saving me, and I think I've got it. We're going to put up a statue of you. It'll be 10 feet high and made of pure gold. Oh, and I know you don't own a horse, but I think we'll put you on one anyway. Horses just make people look more heroic, you know? How's that? You don't want a statue? Oh, I thought you'd really enjoy it. Regardless, thanks to your tireless efforts, our village is at peace once more. And at peace. That's a little agricultural joke right there. Anyway, I've been thinking about other things beside bad jokes and statues. I've also decided that we need to start holding the village festival again. We used to have it every year, but the last mayor thought it was old-fashioned or something and killed it. But since I'm the mayor, I can start it up again. That's not abusing my power or anything, is it? What's that? You want to hear about the festival? Well, the official name is the Feast of the 3 Days. We call it that because everyone sits around a huge table and eats for 3 days straight. No sleeping allowed. Oh, and we hold it on the foggiest days of the year, so it's hard to tell what you're eating. Some of the dishes are delicious, but some of them are really rare and, well, there's some weird stuff in them. Let's leave it at that. Anyway, you'd be pretty surprised what you can eat when you haven't slept for a couple of days. I'll make sure that a room is prepared for you so you can be the guest of honor. What? You can't come? You have to wash your hair. Oh, alright, well, I guess that's understandable. What with the adventuring and all. Truthfully, I think this town needs more group bonding activities like that. It'll help us get to know each other and also promote unity in times of crisis and so forth. Vice coughed loudly. How much longer must we bear this insufferable flapping of this fool's gums? He whispered to Nier. Let him talk. He just woke up. Guy probably has a lot on his mind. Vice sighed. This must be what Popola meant by bright and talkative. Okay, I'm glad I did that. That was a nice optional conversation. So now with that out of the way, I could end the video here, but I wasn't paying very much attention when I decided to cut out a little bit when I was getting back to the point. It wasn't that long, probably just like a minute tops, but before we end off the video, we'll go back to Popola and tell her what happened in the Forest of Myth. So how was the village? Oh, it was truly magnificent. There are no words, really. Huh. Neat. Let's go back to Popola. She'll probably want to know what's going on in there. Alright, let's take a look at the sword we got. Faith is a katana through and through. There's no doubt in my mind that this weapon attacks a lot more quickly than Beastbane, but obviously it trades the damage. Yeah, it's very lightweight, and this is heavy. But actually, there's something about Beastbane that I wanted to show off that I actually found before I started recording this video that I had never noticed before, because I didn't use this sword very much before in my other playthroughs. But anyway, you do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then charge. And Nier does a really cool finishing animation. I noticed that it doesn't happen. The sword always has fire, but the really big attack animation is only good for one attack when you charge it. But the big animation only happens on if you charge the 6th head. Like so. Which is very interesting to me. I wonder if that's true for every single weapon. And since we just got a new one, definitely won't have the fire, but 3, 4, 5. Oh, we do have the fire, actually. Am I just a fool and never noticed that that was a thing that happens? That's funny. Actually, I'm extending the video pretty long now, but actually let's stop by the junk heap maybe. See if we can't upgrade Beastbane a few times, and then we'll go to talk to Popola, and then I'll end the video. Just as much as we can possibly get done is what I'm looking to do in a reasonable amount of time. Okay, that bull was very stuck. I've got to do some climbing on the scaffolding here. Is it just me, or does it seem like there's a very intense fog in the northern plains that wasn't there nearly as much when we came this way before? Interesting. Oh, lucky Kaine could just teleport and have to climb up all that ladder with all those ladders with us.
Speak about Mom as much these days.
Jacob?
Yeah?
Can you read me a story?
In a bit, okay? I've got a customer right now.
How can I help you? Let's strengthen our weapons. We don't have any of the items we need for any weapon, which is a little bit discouraging. We could upgrade Beastbane if we had 7 more iron ore, but we do not, so that's okay. I won't even be using Beastbane for the entire playthrough, so upgrading it that much doesn't really matter. Actually, the weapon that I am going to be using for this playthrough when we get it is widely considered to be one of the most overpowered and quote-unquote easy mode weapons in the entire game. And I completely agree with that. It's ridiculously powerful, even unupgraded, but I am going to use it because it's my favorite weapon in the game, and being overpowered is kind of fun. Oh, speaking of which, I wanted to change our... Well, speaking of which, it's not really relevant, but I wanted to change our Dark Blast magic to Dark Execution. I'm sure I'll switch back to Dark Blast when I need to do some more side quests and grinding, but for now... always happens every single time. Alright, back to Popola now. Glad the fog seems to only affect the northern plains. The Deathdream is such a strange illness. I'm so happy you saved those people. Yeah, dealing with all those words was a pain in the ass. Even I, with my natural love for words, have no desire to revisit that place ever again, or just visit that place ever again. You guys did well. That's all we got, maybe. Nope. Nier. Huh. I almost forgot Yona was looking for you. Oh. She said she needed something from you. Time to go play daddy for a bit, huh? Yeah, I guess so. Thanks, Popola. She didn't say what it was about, but she looked pretty concerned. So let's see what that is. Oh, there's the fog from from the planes again. Just kidding. Definitely glad the village doesn't have that fog as much. It was like I had a... Oh, it's back. Oh, there we go. It's just adjusting to the light. Oh no, it is back a little bit. I don't know. It feels like there's a white overlay over my screen a little bit. Not a fan of that. Spirit drop and gold. 700 gold. That's not a whole lot, but I guess we need a lot now because we spent all that. Oh, we have 16,000. Never mind. Yeah, we did get up to like 30. That's right. 30 something. Dad, yay. Bobola said you needed something. That's a very, very serious way to address your daughter. I need a favor. What is it? Yona, I can't help if you don't tell me. Yeah, I guess. Yona, please, out with it. I need you to help my friend. Your friend. I have a friend and he sent me a letter and now I need you to help. Someone wrote you a letter. A pen pal, how delightful. So who is this friend? Well, he's kinda... It's a guy. Yes, and he's sick and in a whole lot of trouble. And I know that you and Vicey are the only ones who can help him. Vicey, tell me about this guy. He lives in this really big house down south and he's super nice and he's my friend. You have to help him, Dad, please. Yona, listen. Please. Great, now what do I do? No way, she's too young for it. It's just a friend Nier. You gotta believe her when she says just a friend. I'll do it. I can't say no to her. Okay, I'll see if I can help. Yay, thank you, Dad. Thank you. Can you get a watermelon for me, Dad? Well, let's see if there's any dialogue once we leave real quick. Great. My kid's got a boyfriend. You should tread with caution. This lad may be your future son-in-law. Vice, we are not discussing this. So we know where to go. This sick kid that we need to help, or apparently sick kid, is in that big manor that we went to quite a while ago on the way to Seafront, but I'm gonna put that off for a little bit. I'm gonna do any and all side quests that I can, but after, I don't want to make any promises because it might not be totally doable, but in the next video I'm going to try to tackle the DLC for the bookcase in there, so I hope you're looking forward to that, and because I know I am. So thanks so much for watching. Take care. I know this one went a little long too, but just because of all the reading parts, it's been tough to trim and not cut anything that I didn't want to cut out. So anyway, I digress. Thank you very much for watching. Take care of yourself. Goodbye.